an early morning, so I thought that we should start it in a slow manner and a little bit look at the past. As many of you know, the origin of MySQL actually comes from my daughter, My. And in the beginning of the project, it was lots of traveling, meeting interesting people and groups. Combined with working from home, things were good, even if there were some growing pains. And we came into strange company eventually, which scared some of us a bit. Fortunately, there's a younger generation who can take over and continue with MySQL, while Me continues to travel. She's now in Latin America, taking a half year off, free as a bird. The question with MariaDB, is the next generation up to it? It's a hard job taking over success. It's a little like pulling out a rabbit from a hat. Just charm is not enough. But we are confident we can pull it off. So let's be happy that we still can put our trust in the original creators of MySQL. The project names have changed, but the core team is the same. Those who look closely at this picture can notice there's a couple of innocent bystanders, just happens to be in Lisbon at the team meeting. But to separate the innocent from the guilty, we have some mugshots. And then to go and present the team. The full optimized team is working off on MariaDB. We have also 3 of the 4 original architects. And you can see the dates when people started, pretty early in the project. We now have somebody who's taking care of replication and our build system, which is all open source. We have a general team. And we have now also Windows expert, and we are doing a lot of stuff on GIS, so we have a Windows installer. We also have QA, some of the best QA guys MySQL ever had. And we have some people who are working in the community and the new guy. And we have a knowledge base, free documentation for MySQL. We have a pretty nice website and lots of good information created by these guys. And we have somebody who's managing this merry gang, taking care that things are taken care of. Of course, there's lots of others involved. Most of the new features in MySQL 5.2, who was released in November, was actually contributed by community. We have, in a knowledge base, we have more than 1,000 articles, and we have some statistics that shows that MariaDB is actually an active, community-driven project. We are in Monty program, we are driving it, but we are not the only one who is participating in it. And since the release of 5.2, we have hundreds of thousands of downloads, not counting those who are in the distributions that we are part of. So we are picking up. Okay. Okay. So we spent a lot of time doing a free documentation because 2 years ago, Sun promised that the MySQL documentation would be free. It didn't happen. So we have built a system where we have filled it up ourselves with thousands of articles. We have added SQL 99, a reference manual for SQL 99 that is free for people to use. And it's open for anybody to ask questions. We will ensure that questions are answered. That means multi-program in the community. And you can add your own articles into it. So we expect that this will create a true free documentation of both MySQL and MariaDB and SQL. So feel free to participate and help us do this. We also, in Monty Program AB, we have got lots of partners, so we are starting to see adoption of MariaDB also from people and companies coming to us and telling us that they have hundreds of machines running or they're converting hundreds of machines, and things are working really great. And that's because MariaDB is a drop-in replacement with a lot of enhancement that typically makes things much better, which I will describe on some of the future slides. We just signed a strategic partnership with SkySQL, where we will be their development and third-level support partner. In other words, we take care of the bugs and the really, really hard performance problems that requires you to dig into the code. This is really important for me because multi-program AB, with that, we can provide a home for the developers, the core developers of MySQL, the critical people. We can't afford to leave the MySQL infrastructure because in that case, we deal with nobody who can take care of the product. But I can take care of everyone. And SkySQL fills a place in the ecosystem where they can provide a home for trainers, salespeople, and especially the support people, which is close to my heart, because that was one of the early things that I created that became the success of MySQL. I think it's totally critical when you have a support contract that the first person you talk with knows more than you do. And I did actually model the support of MySQL from my bad experience with Sun when I had to go to 3, 4 people until I could get an answer for a simple question. I was told a couple of days ago that of the 400 to 450 people that joined Sun from MySQL AB, there are only 54 left. I think that the number is much smaller than expected. I don't know how accurate it is, but looking around, I can see it's at least not far from the truth. Because in Oracle, the only teams that are working is the DB team that never really come from MySQL, and the NDB team, and somewhat the replication team. Everything else is scattered and gone. There's only 2 core developers left at Oracle. And I don't think that the people who are left that are replaceable. So I see that what we are doing is totally critical for the future of MySQL. And talking about support, when it's time for you to change support provider, if anybody tells you any of these answers without a really good reason why, that's the time when you know that you're not talking with the right persons. So the question that has been asked me a lot during the years is MariaDB, is it a branch or a fork? Until recently, we were a branch because we thought it was totally critical that everything in MySQL also would be MariaDB. But a couple of months ago, Oracle removed the FOSS exceptions from the client code, which actually don't allow all of free software to be used with the MySQL client. A couple of days, they added something back, but now there's only a reference to a website that can change any time, and it's not clear really what the things on the website means. I tried to interpret it for 20 minutes yesterday, couldn't really come up with what actually the rules are. So we decided that let's fork the client library, but still have the main service as a branch. So the question is if you're Forge or a Brock, I don't know. But at least there's something in between. The current state of the C connector is that we did some months ago release the old 3.23 LGPL client that works for many applications, but not for all. In MariaDB, we are not anymore merging the C client just so we can keep the original, pretty well-defined FOSS exception. And we have created a new LGPL client library that we will release and alpha in April and beta in May, so that you don't have to really worry about linking your applications with the client library anymore. And this is probably one of the most well-kept secrets in MySQL, was that when do you actually need a commercial license? If you look at on the right, when you're actually connecting your application through a general interface, well-published standard interface, like EDBC or DBC or Perl, where you, in addition, dynamically load the module, you're not bound by the GPL anyway. The connector actually protects you, because you're actually not requiring MySQL. You can work with any database. So those who have paid licenses to us in the past, you actually have helped us provide the infrastructure for that, so don't feel bad about that. But in the future, you know that there's nothing in the GPL that affects your application. So the only problem that is left is the C connector. And by changing the C connector to LGPL, that means that you can link your application with the C connector, and you are not bound by the GPL either. If you then distribute the server with the C connector, then there is still some additional issues that need to be solved, but we have solutions for that. So if you want to know how to solve them, come and talk with me after the talk. So the server, we're a branch of MySQL, which means we are dropping replacement. It just takes a couple of seconds to replace, everything works. We have more open development. Everything we do, plans, source, everything can be found either on Ask Monty, knowledge base, or in Launchpad. We have lots of active external contributors, and we actually have meetings together with companies and contributors about planning the future. And we will have a BOF this evening, where we're actually going through the initial plans that we did in Lisbon and see that if there's some additional things we should add to the next release. The current state is that 5.2 is stable. It actually has many of the performance improvements that already was in MySQL 5.5, especially on the inner EDB side, thanks to ExtraDB. We have 5.3 out in alpha. During this month, we should have a beta, and we should have a beta of 5.5 that is a merge of 5.5 in April, May. We are doing our best to get it in April, but we can't promise that. So the new features in 5.2 was that we added this Sphinx storage engine, so you can do text search easily through Sphinx daemon with MariaDB. We have virtual columns, allows you to add expressions. We extended user statistics, so you can know much more about what MySQL or MariaDB is using, and with tables, with indexes, so you can delete indexes that are not of no use. We have a segmented key cache. We'll come to that later. And we added group commit in the area engine that we are still doing some development on it. And the blue means that we're going to develop the community, so you can actually see that most of the features in 5.2 is from the community, because our teams were concentrating mainly on 5.3 while we're doing small things here. So there might be some segmented key cache that affects any MyISAM and temporal table use. We are now at 250% improvement. So with 5.3, we are very close to beta. We have 3 things that need to be pushed, and that should be done this month. And the merge, it's in the verge, and we hope to have it done soon. So what's new in 5.3? This is the biggest re-engineering of the optimizer that has been done in 10 years. Suddenly, most subqueries are actually useful. The initial work was doing backporting from MySQL 6.0, but then we added almost 2 years of development on enhancing those. So if MySQL 5.6 that was just announced, that was the original work, backporting. It has nothing to do with the new work that we have done. So all the features in MariaDB is greatly enhanced. And the nice thing about when we are working with algorithms, it's not a question about some 1-2% speedups. We are talking about 100, up to 100 times speedups in cases when you're using subqueries. We also added multi-range read. I'll come to that later. Batch key access, index push done, condition push done, something also in 5.6, and classic hash joins. The interesting thing actually about 5.6 is that there have been almost none new development done by the MySQL team at Oracle. Most of the features are taken from things that was done on MySQL AB and Oracle time. The new development is happening here. So this is just a list of common subqueries that are now significantly faster. The batch key access speed up, this just shows that by having larger buffers, we can now achieve for very common queries up to 10x speed up, depending on how big the query result is. We added microsecond support, and this is a full implementation that everything that requires microseconds actually supports it. That includes timestamp, time, date time. With no, you can just by specifying the decimals in no, you can say which precision you want to have in the timestamp. This replicates nicely, and this was a sponsored feature that we were paid by customer to do. And it should be pushed into 5.3 this week. This is actually one of the features that keeping 5.3 to be in beta now. We added group commit between the binary log and the storage engine, something that should have been done a long time ago. And this is a must for anybody who uses replication today. You can get a significant speed up if you want to have reliable replication by just switching to MariaDB. And lots of small optimization code cleans up. And those gives you couple percent to 5% better performance, but they are just too numerous to list. About the group commit. So this is kind of maybe the most important feature for most people to switch to MariaDB, where you see that the red line is what happens if you run normal MySQL with a binary log, in other words, for replication. The yellow line shows what happens when you're using the group commit patch. That means that it scales, and you can get notable better performance. And if you don't use a replication, then you have perfect scale. That's the blue line. So if you just have a machine that you don't need replication, and you're using InnoDB, then you should turn definitely the bin log off. But you probably want to have that for in-time recovery and other stuff. And we are trying to get the group commit in the next version to match very closer to the blue line. That's what Kristen is working on. And we will have a talk about that today. So about NoSQL. The main reason for using NoSQL is to handle unstructured data or get faster replication, like with Memcached, where you want to have your data spread over lots of different machines. And actually, that NoSQL has been so popular is actually because the current SQL databases haven't caught up with the demand, especially in the replication, for what the users are needing. So MariaDB 5.3, we added a lot of new stuff to be a bridge between NoSQL and SQL in the same way that the storage engine interface allowed us to be a bridge between transactional databases and handling statistical queries. So we improved the handler interface, we added handler sockets, directly compiled so you don't have to do that. And then we had dynamic columns. I will go to through those. So with the handler improvements, MySQL has actually, since 2001, provided a handler interface that allows you to do very simple reads to DB and MyISAM. That is bypassed optimizer, and I think it's about 10–20% faster than selects. So by streamlining the interface and making things better, we added a 7% speed up, and by also allowing those in prepared statements, you got a 20–50% speed up. And we had some benchmark done by Stephanie, where he showed that you can get 500,000 queries per second, which is 60% of handler socket. But the nice thing with this works with any client. So it's a nice thing to have. The biggest problem with SQL to solve is the web store problem, where you have items with different properties that you want to store in the database. For example, a T-shirt and a computer. If you want to store all the attributes, you can't really do that easily, because they are things that doesn't fit nicely into a type. There's lots of solutions in SQL to do that. Not a single one of those are nice. So you just have to go to NoSQL and forget the relational database, what you mean with those or think about to solve the problem. So what we did, we added dynamic columns in 5.3, new features. The last things was coded last week, because we had it in a presentation about it. It was accepted, so we actually had to do it. But this is something that we planned to do a long time, so it was good to get a little bit of fire under you. So with dynamic columns, each row can have a different set of columns than other ones. And we did this with a very simple set of functions that works with ODBC or any client. And it's also available in the client. So you can use these functions in the server to access columns stored in a blob or many blobs. Or you can pull the full blob to the client and store those. And we're going to do a proof of concept with this one during the next month and provide a storage interface to HBase so that you can use MariaDB to access to your data with HBase, including doing joins. More about that at the 305 on the dynamic column stock. So for 5.6, where we have, this is a list that was created at the Lisbon MariaDB meeting. This list is still can change. We have people committed to do some of the features. We will have both about that. So if you want to have something added to the list, or want to participate in developing something or sponsor something to get done, if it's a list or not, please come to the buff or communicate with us on the email list. So we're going to do better GIS, more online operations, compatibility and usability. These are the different things that was mentioned as categories at the meeting. We want to have better applications. We want to have a group commit to one sync per, instead of 3 syncs, to get to the blue line, global transactions ID, parallel applying for the binary log. There's something in the works for 5.6. We have seen in the implementation and we are not happy with it. We think that we can do something that is compatible, but much, much better, and we will have that done soon. With the optimizer, we're still doing some work. As we're the optimizer team, we need to give some work. We are working with Intel to get much better performance on multi-core CPUs. We have a better thread pool. We already have done some tests for it, because in MySQL Enterprise, they will have a thread pool to handling lots of connections. We will have exactly a similar feature in a free version. And the full list can be found in the knowledge base. And here's some information about the thread pool. But so actually, I'm a little before my time, which made Colin happy, who was afraid that 56 slides would be too much. So what we are arranging is a plugin and storage engine summit at Facebook. We have had that at each MySQL conferences for 5-6 years. So we are continuing with the tradition. We are driving it. Facebook is kindly sponsoring it. If you want to participate, please contact me or Colin or follow the web link. We're also launching a MariaDB ambassador program to spread knowledge about MySQL, MariaDB, and all other open source databases. We are contributing some time and money to different user groups to ensure that people know about open source databases. We actually are working with universities that has no approved MariaDB as the official SQL courses that they hold. We also have a T-shirt and dinner auction to support Japan in our booth. So please participate. So the T-shirt will be signed by me, and they had the unfortunate, if you had the unfortunate luck to win, you even get a dinner with me, which I will pay. Depending on where the person is located. If possible, that can be arranged. So please, help Japan. It's in our booth the whole time. So, about MariaDB, you can find most of the MariaDB developers here in the conference. I think it's only 2 who are left home. Come to the booth, come to talk about us. If you want to know more about MariaDB, how easy it is to replace MySQL, we can do it at the booth if you want to. Or if you want to participate in the development or sponsor features, we are here. Or if you want to have support. I mean, if your company deserves the best, come to us. Thank you.